Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're out here, we're going to notch some jack posts for a jack fence job we got to do. And I thought I'd go ahead and show you how I do that with just my chainsaw. So we have a bunch of jack posts sitting here ready to go. We have some there that need to be cut in half, but they're going to be ready to go pretty soon. So we got plenty of jack posts. And then if you look over here, just behind my sawmill, in the mess of my lumber mess here, we got this little jig that Austin and I created. I think it was last year or the year before, and it's just a hodgepodge of a jig. However, some very neat little things we did with it. We took a piece of all thread, I'll show you real quick. And so on the back side we have 3 4x4 posts. And we threaded some all thread through the whole piece, a nice long piece. And then on the bar here, you can see it's bolted on both sides of the bar. And that's the only area there where there's nuts. And it slides back and forth. Now the thing is, it feels sticky. When I first built it, it feels sticky, like it doesn't want to slide. But you fire this thing up, that vibration, boy, it goes back and forth very easily. And so if you see here, this is the platform for our post. So we slide our log in on this platform. It rests against this point and it butts up against this point right there, and that's where she stops. And that creates the angle because my saw stays at the same angle. Now as far as the width of the notch, as we're cutting with this and I come all the way to the left, the engine is actually going to come up against this piece right here. That'll create my left side of my notch. And on the other end, I slide it over until that bar reaches the post over there, that nut does, and that creates my other side of the notch. And you'll see that in action here in a minute. Now, one of the most important things that we did here, and Austin's the one that brought this into the picture, if I remember correctly, and he said, let's get a couple springs and put above here, and that helps hold this up off of the post. So all I gotta do while it's running basically is come down and it comes up and it slides over, down, up, and I can make those pretty quick because it's got that assist, that spring assist, which is really helpful in a long day of notching posts. And then another thing we did is I took a old fuel line, I don't know, from an old motorcycle extra or something like that. We drilled a hole in one of these caps and we epoxied this into that cap. And so when the fuel gets low, I come up here and turn this deal down, obviously, and then I have fuel coming into the tank, get some fuel in there, and I can put it back up out of my way. So we can kind of refill as we go, otherwise I have to take this little number off every time. Now the oiler has always been a problem too. I thought about doing the same thing with the oiler. And of course, with it not oiling, that was a bad deal. But now, if this works today, I probably might do a similar thing with that I did with this. And hopefully I can keep it out of the way. But then you can just keep running because believe it or not, guys, it goes through a tank of gas pretty quick doing this. It's a little bit gas heavy. All them notches, that's a lot of cutting. But it is the best way to notch it out. It's kind of a goofy looking little jig number. However, when all you have is a chainsaw and maybe you're not a machinist, this will work, especially if you only need to cut 50 or 60 jack posts at a time or whatever. This is pretty slick. It's a lot easier than doing it freehand. And let's get her fired up, guys, and see how she does. only got to do that about 120 more times and we're good to go. Alright guys, so we're about ready to run out of gas, and unfortunately, because my oiler's not hooked up, I need to take this off, turn it sideways, fill her up, so someday I'll fix that little problem, because I definitely don't want to run the bar out of oil because it makes it really hard to cut. But let me show you what we got going on so far. So I have two different piles. These ones, those ones right there, we both notched out today on that one tank. About 28, 29 sticks or 14 jacks. And these ones over here, when we measure them, we measure across the face of the cut here. Let me pull one up right there. And see, that's over 5.5 inches wide easily, maybe 5 3/4 almost. That's way too wide for our notch, which is about 5 1/8 on average. They're pretty close. So anything over 5 shows up in this pile, and I will show you what we do with those later because we're looking for a universal cut. So we're gonna basically cut part of this off, and I used my sawmill for that, so I'll show you that here in a little bit. But we make a universal cut so they all fit together with whichever one you pick up, and that's why we separate the bigs from the normies. So a lot of these over here are like 4.5 to 5. And they're all gonna work great. Let's check this one out. That's about 5. It's perfect. And these will all fit together no matter what we do. Alright guys, so we have about 80 individual sticks cut, which makes about 40 sets of jacks between the two piles here. And let's go ahead and do a random quality check. Okay, I like to do a random quality check. Excuse my camera work while I do this. This is really not the best way to do this, but there's one post. Let's pick another random out of here. Let's pick this guy right here. Bring him over here. So the way these are cut, the bottom one is basically on the left side of your body, angled over to the right, and the right one goes the other way. And then I'm gonna back this up a scoosh, and we're gonna go ahead and line our notches up, and bingo. That one fits pretty dang good. So I think our quality is doing pretty decent. Now we will turn our attention to these guys over here, these bigger ones. I'm going to grab my tractor, grab a few of these, head over to the sawmill and show you how we make these one size fits all. We're over here at the sawmill, and we're getting ready to trim up some of the jack posts. And what I normally do is I just set this blade for just a little bit less than the width of the notch. And that makes for a very snug fit, but hopefully one that's relatively easy to put together. So we're going to fire this baby up, let it warm up, throw a couple posts on here, give you an example, and then we'll be out of your hair. Cleaned out, I guess. You reckon? Okay, so those are trimmed up nice, and we're gonna do a quality check, make sure they fit. They should be pretty snug right in there, and just like that. Lickety split. Not too shabby, guys. So I guess we got about 50 of those to do. There you go, guys. That's how we cut our jack posts for our jack fence, and just using our chainsaw. And of course we use the sawmill to shave the edge. You could use a chainsaw if that's all you have, but either way, that's how we do it. Makes a nice little cut. It's a pretty good program, and I highly recommend jack fence to you guys if you ever have an opportunity to use any. It works really good, especially for boggy areas or areas difficult to put posts in the ground. This makes a pretty quick, easy fence in the middle of winter when it's frozen. You can put it up, no problem. It can be spendy. The wood is pretty expensive. However, it's easy to put in and lasts half a lifetime. I don't know how long, but anyways, there you go, guys. Like, subscribe, follow along. We'll catch you back out here tomorrow. Have a good one.